Hey, Chet.
Hello, Will.
You got to at least feign enthusiasm for these. We got to get people hyped up. You got to come in. You got to put your game face on. You got to be ready to.
Hey, Will, what's up?
That's awesome. You clipped a little bit, but it's fine. I'll fix it in
Hey,
post.
Will, what's up? I'm
That's
having a hell of a time here. It's super exciting in the Pacific Northwest. It still feels weird to say the Pacific Northwest because I don't consider Seattle the Pacific Northwest, even though it is. I've lived here 15 years, or
Wait.
God, more than 15 years
What?
now. But I still just consider it Seattle because I moved to Seattle. And the Pacific Northwest is something else. I don't know.
That's a whole look. We're gonna have to unpack that on another episode at some
It's
point in the future.
branding. Like, I don't know.
I, to me, everything north of San Francisco is Pacific Northwest.
Oh, it
Like
is the
once you
Pacific
cross the Golden Gate
Northwest.
Bridge,
Clearly,
like
it is.
boom, yeah, Marin, Pacific Northwest.
If you would ask me, hey, do you live in the Pacific Northwest? I'd be like, yeah, no. That's where other people live, not me.
Yeah, you're from Cleveland. That's
I,
clear.
yeah, there's stuff called Pacific here, and I'm like, why do you call it Pacific? I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, that ocean's right
Yeah,
there.
you like throw a rock on the other side of the sound, and you're there. Sound bay. What do you put?
Sound,
Sound. Okay.
sound.
Is the difference between a sound and a bay that one is open on both ends and the other end's only open on one? I should know this stuff. This is like fifth grade geography. But
Puget Sound,
yeah, there you go. Um,
estuaries, canals.
I was trying to get a sound segue there, but I missed it. We're talking about grenades today.
Yes, yes,
Grenades are an important part of our combat sandbox. It turns out.
yes. And all of a sudden, as we say, we're going to talk about grenades. I'm trying to list them all in my head, and I don't know if I can.
Okay. Well,
Because one of
okay.
the things, so we started, as we start in our world,
Mhm.
we at some point say, hey, these guns are fun, but we should have something else in the world so that you have options. So a lot of times what you want to do is you want to have a player come onto a problem and make a strategy, make a plan. And so they're like, hey, I have something, I have guns. At first you just said guns, and you'd be like, well, I'm going to stand over here and you stand over there. And then we created this thing called the jump rope of death, which was a jump rope you carried between two people and you ran around and killed things.
Like you're clotheslining them, and
Yes.
it's like lasers, and they like cut in half.
Yes.
Why is that not
Yes.
still in the game, Chet?
We may bring that back sometime. It ends up having a lot of problems. It's really fun for two people, and everyone else is just standing around going, "What are you two doing?"
Hmm. So we
But
need a
but
four-prong jump rope of death, is
we
what you're
we
saying.
learned a lot. We want to reintroduce it and to learn. But during that, we're like, well, we should have other things in the world. So we have some destructibles that you can explode, and we're like, well, you should have some things you throw. Games have grenades in them.
Yeah.
So we started with the classic grenade, and that would be the impact grenade.
Yeah, it's just you throw it like 3 seconds later, boom, everything around it explodes and flies up in the air. It's pretty stock for our game, I would say.
Which it's you say it's pretty stock, but there's a lot of nuance. Does it explode when it hits something? Does
Is it
it
an
go
impact
through
grenade?
things?
Okay.
Does it bounce and then
Mhm.
explode? Do you see where the arc goes? Is the arc true or just giving you the gist? And there's a whole bunch of nuance that we've gone back and forth a million times on.
I was gonna say the arc thing. Having played for a really long time games that didn't have an arc, and then I started playing PUBG a few years ago. PUBG has an arc, and the arc almost, but mostly never shows you where the grenade is going to go. Like it is an unreliable arc.
Yes, and we have had a perfectly reliable arc and then a semi-reliable arc. And I will be honest, what we end up shipping will be something.
We
It
don't
will
know
be
right now.
we are pretty close to tying that down, but I think there's still some nuance. And we've often had, should we have options? Like, would literally, it's a
Oh,
heated enough of an argument in the studio. Should we have a grenade throwing option of how you like it?
so I'm pretty new to this game dev thing, but from where I sit, it seems like anytime an argument ends with we're going to let the players decide, I feel like a little part of us dies inside as a studio.
Well, we want to make this decision up front and say this is what we think this thought is, but then equally we do want to have stuff and go, let's see what happens when players are out in the wild. The problem is, like, if you present them something, that's what they're going to react to. If you present them the one over the other,
Yeah.
you're going to get zeroing down on the one or the other. And so that's why making an option gives them both, and then we just see which ones do they select. And
So
if you put it in the option, of course they're going to select it less because entropy, and no one
and
wants to
defaults,
actually do
yeah,
anything.
exactly. So why
But
do you not want a reliable grenade arc? What's the argument against that? Do you remember?
because a lot of things can happen between you getting that arc and you throwing.
Like an alien runs between you and them, it bounces off the alien's head, chaos happens, and the next thing you know, you've blown up Lance.
Yes. Or
Okay.
somebody by you does something and that makes you move and whatever.
Okay.
Well, we will come with something. But with that though, we put the grenade in and we started having those arguments. Then equally, at one point we're like, well, we're a sci-fi game,
Yeah.
and there in the future there'd be more than just impact grenades. And to be clear, first they were called frag grenades, but as I pointed out, little fragments floating around on a spaceship, tearing through the hull.
Seems bad.
Is super bad.
Ill-advised at best.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's kind of the Kessler effect inside your ship.
Look, in reality, we all know that if there's a tiny hole in the International Space Station, like the astronauts don't get sucked up against the hole and get their insides pulled out into space. It takes like days or even weeks to deplete all the air on the space station. Yada yada yada. But we're about fun.
Still a problem.
Yeah.
So then we started playing with grenades. And first grenade was, well, what if you had a little black hole in your pocket that you could use and suck everybody in?
Wait, you went there instead of fire? Yes. I would have assumed you would led with fire.
Oh, no, it was Ryan started with the black hole.
Okay. Black holes, the Vortex Grenade's great.
Means then that the fun, everything dying happens off screen in the black hole. And that's less than perfect.
Like, I could see a world where if there's windows everywhere, you could see the aliens getting blasted out into space on the other side of the window. But, like, a lot of our environments don't have... windows are kind of rare on the inside of a giant spaceship, it turns out.
So there was a grenade that pulled everybody together and then hung them in the air, and then you could shoot them.
No, that sounds fun.
That was kind of a version of that.
Yeah.
But then we thought, what if instead we split those and make one grenade, the one you throw, it sucks everybody together for certain things like the common, it does it with enough force that it kills them.
Yeah.
For other things, it just damages them. And some things are too big to move. And then we do the other grenade, and that's the Stasis Grenade, where it freezes time or slows time for the aliens in that space.
Yeah, I think when I started, it still froze time, right? Like it froze time for a long time, it seemed like, or it slowed it way down. Like they just would kind of clump up on the outside edges and push their inner brethren in toward the center.
Yeah, it ends up freezing's not nearly as fun to watch as slow.
Slowing is awesome, it turns out.
Because you have the brute with, arms extended coming at you,
like
just kind of hazing, or you have goo slowly going by you and you get to kind of, dodge out of the way of it.
Even like spawner turrets shoot through it and like the yellow particles all sparkle and it's very cool.
So, but we just learned that by first throwing in an impact grenade and seeing what we like.
It turns out the first thing you have to do is throw a grenade.
And then, so we started adding that, and then we added goo so that you could slow the aliens. Because often you want to be able to plan, right? And so if you're in a location where there's a lot of activity, what do? You throw out some goo grenades, you slow things down from that area, and you're able to take care of them. But then, fire.
Yeah.
And it's fun that you can throw a bunch of goo grenades down and then pick up a impact grenade and set them on fire.
Yeah, because our goo, like
fire.
Human goo and alien goo both burn in our world.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. So then it ends up being this thing of like when there's a gooer, you actually kind of hang back, let him goo around a lot. He drops a lot around him, kill him, and then set everything on fire.
Yeah, that is the way it goes usually.
And then we were like, we like fire, so let's just flat out do a fire grenade as some of the cast like.
I can't imagine who would have wanted a fire grenade out of our team. So I have a serious science question here. I've noticed that when you're playing and you're a player, you walk through the alien goo, it slows you down, but you walk through the human goo and you go full speed.
That is, we can thank Boris.
Okay.
So Boris is always working, and so Boris.
Wait, I'm gonna have to redact all this stuff.
Way of delivering items to you in the world. So some of the stuff she does by using the meta compilers, and some of the stuff she just teleports into the ship and hopes for the best.
So the answer is Boris did it.
Yes, she's figured it out.
Perfect.
And as you play, you'll hear little snippets of stories of other things Boris has done for you that has helped you attack or either avoid the aliens or fight the aliens.
Okay. We forgot the shield grenade.
Yes. See, I told you we would.
I knew you were going to forget one because there's a lot of grenades. So we'll talk about the shield grenade, then we'll talk about how we distribute grenades because it's interesting from a cooperative perspective too, I think.
So at first we had this idea, well, you should have 2 grenade slots. And that would be one offensive, one defensive, or something like that.
It's a lot of buttons, it turns out.
A lot of buttons, a lot of thoughts in your brain, a lot of mashing wrongly, and not a lot of teamwork. because you could
Yeah.
be your own gooer and fire starter. So instead, let us just let you pick up one. But if you just pick up one grenade, what happens is you don't want to throw it because you've got to find another grenade the minute you throw it.
It's precious.
So then it became, well, let's let you pick up two grenades of the same type, and then you could throw them out. And now there's perks that you can actually pick up more grenades. But then some grenades were like, well, we should just give you two of them then when you pick them up, because that's just reasonable.
Like some like the stasis grenade, the one that slows down time, incredibly like it is. There's a couple of weapons in our game that are basically solve almost any problem, and the stasis grenade is one of those. Like a brute and a gooer coming at you, you throw the stasis grenade, you buy yourself a few seconds to do some shooting, and the next thing you know, your problems are gone.
And what does the stasis grenade not work against?
It's not great against things that use physics to traverse the world, like the turret rollers and the eggs, which we haven't talked
Yes.
about yet. I don't think.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's things that it does not work against. So nothing's a solve for everything. But the shield grenade is what you would think. It's a shield. And it's really, really helpful when you're really in a crazy situation and you just need to like bring somebody back up or heal or something, and you put it down. Yeah, last night, me, Nick, and Amy did a speed run just to see how the driver handled three experienced players doing a
Yeah.
speed run. And it ends up by the time you get to the finale, it's pretty mad at you. And we just started throwing shields down and moving from shield to shield as like this protectorate because it was just so overwhelmingly crazy of what was happening. We still survived, but it was very, very touch and go for a while.
That's awesome. I think I occasionally, because I have to sometimes go through and grab screenshots and stuff. I'll try to get through the first level as fast as I can, and I think like 2 minutes probably the best time. That's usually a good 30 minutes for a new group of
Yes.
playtesters, and it's really amazing the variance you get in the driver output for that.
Yes.
Um, okay, so we talked about quantity. Like this is the grenades are one of the only things that we do. We don't dole out in an equitable way to all players. Like there's just we just spawn a
Correct.
boatload of them in the world. So instead of like having a grenade dispenser, which we may at some point in the future, like we've talked about it, it may come back in the game where you can go and you hit the button and it spits out some of whatever kind of grenade you want. You just find them everywhere. Like you look in closets, you look under tables. They're all over the world, and there's usually quite a few of them. So
Yeah. So, because one of the hardest things in a game is getting people to throw grenades because they think it's precious and oh my God, they're going to wait for the perfect time. In our game, we purposely, on our game, the Anacrusis, we purposely fill the world with them.
mhm.
And you'll still see new players, like the really hardcore, sweaty new player will use a pistol all the time to save ammo. And they will then go ahead and like be scared to use the grenades. But really, by the third map, you're learning there's a lot of grenades. I can just be chucking these like crazy. And that's one of the, if you go back to our original video, one of the goals, or is to have one of the pillars is to have spectacle and craziness. And that's how you get it. You just have people throwing grenades, and you will see in some holdouts or finales, it just
Like
there's
it never
fire,
stops. Yeah.
there's stasis, there's shields, there's people using all kinds of stuff. When you're doing the speed run, you find out that you really really like the Vortex Grenade, which is the kind of the one that sucks everybody up, because you just throw it ahead of you and it just takes care of those problems and you just keep running.
Yeah, you just clear out a whole mob all at once. When you were starting out, was there a conversation about offhand grenades and like inventory item grenades? Because our grenades are offhand. You huck a button, you tap a button, and they throw. Uh,
Yes. So if you are a new player and you're panicking, the worst thing you want to do is go through inventory or pick and select. I get why games do that. Like for me, when I play PUBG and late game, I have a grenade at the ready. Mid game, I actually remove the grenade because I don't want to accidentally get to it, because I think I'm really going to kill people, not have to need my smoke grenades.
oh, because you're a scroller on the
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
And so with that, for us, it was the same kind of idea of like when you're in a panic, you want to just be able to hit G and have it be the escape key of problems. The problem arises is when you're like, hey, I've got this stasis grenade. Will's in trouble. I'm going to help him by throwing a stasis
Yeah,
grenade.
it
And
helps.
instead, it's incendiary grenade, and you set Will on fire.
I mean, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, it happens enough. It's funny. You're the only person this happens with when we play, but it's often, oh no, that was an incendiary grenade, and then next thing you know, you're on fire.
While Bailey's done a lot of work to make really nice icons for it, if you're playing and you need an excuse, just go ahead and use that excuse. Just
Oh,
keep using it. If enough of us keep using it, it'll be the game's fault and not ours.
I think that's as good a place as any to wrap up this week. Uh, let's see. You can wishlist the Anacrusis on Steam. You'll get early access to these blog posts because before we even tweet about them, they're on Steam and they're posted on our Discord, which is at discord.gg/StrayBombay. You can sign up to be a beta tester. We're doing multiple runs of beta testers every week now. We watch basically we send you a Steam key or give you a Parsec login. We watch you play for an hour to 3 hours, depending on how your group does, and we learn like what you notice about the game and how you play the game. We talked about it all on last week's dev blog, so you can actually go back and watch that if you want to know more about why we play test and how we play test. And then we're also still recruiting modders, and the link for that is too long and not easy to remember, so it's going to be in the either in the blog post or in the notes below, depending on where you're watching this.
And on the Discord, discord.gg/StrayBombay.
Also on the
That's
you mean
where
discord.gg/StrayBombay.
that is where most of the action is. So going over there is a good place. And I think next month, since we're almost at the end of September and October, we'll actually start showing a lot more of these things like the grenades and everything else in video.
I can't wait. It's amazing you mentioned that because I spent
I
a
am
lot of
pretty,
this morning.
but I'm not nearly as pretty as a well-thrown stasis grenade.
Look, I want just cool video game visuals over top of us talking, and
Yes.
yeah, like the blue room, the red room, it works, but we need the good stuff now.
But as with all things, we always just want to show you where we're really at and what's going on. And so we wanted to wait and thought October is the time to kick that off as we head towards launch.
We're gonna call it Shocktober or Rocktober or
It's always Rocktober.
Rocktober. It's really I was a
officially
Shocktober
I grew up
guy.
as Rocktober. That is what it's going to be.
Okay.
And you don't have to do things because they rhyme with the month. So if someone tries to get you to like shave your head, grow a beard, whatever, it just because it rhymes.
Wait, I didn't have to do move member. I thought that was a thing you had to do. This is how this started.
Our city. So in Seattle, they make little signs up that's like 20 is plenty. First of all, that doesn't really rhyme.
No, that's a terrible rhyme.
But they have like a bunch of them around, and I want to go print my own. Like 50 is nifty.
What is 20 is plenty of what?
They're telling you to go 20 miles per hour instead of 25, even though the speed limit is 25. You can order the signs online. Soon you'll be able to just pick up my sign somewhere else. The 50 is nifty.
Yeah, faster.
Oh, Lordy,
faster
he was going 40.
Oh, no. I'm stopping this now. We'll see you all next week. Bye, everybody.